what makes sense is for me to say, hey guys, so tell me what's going on in your lives.
Well, I think you probably need 2 complete episodes for me and them both to tell you what's going on. I will say this, thank goodness there is something going on after, having gone through COVID. And even last year, it was hit and miss a lot on the road. I know Vinny and them were out on the road a lot too, and some people were still scared to go out, and the numbers would fluctuate. You'd sell out one show and go 3 hours away and be half full. So here at the end of the year, we're finally starting to see, people are starting to show up again. The crowds are starting to fill up, and we had our first year at South Point last year. We had 6 weeks at South Point. This year we're getting 9 weeks. I think that's what same as you guys.
Yeah.
And so that's really positive, and it's good to be back over on that side of town with Michael gone.
Yeah. Now, Bucky, you're with Bill Medley, and it's a Righteous Brothers. How'd you get involved with him? What happened?
Well, I lost a bet, and we were in jail, and no, Bill came into. I was in Branson, Missouri during the heyday of Branson. I moved there in '94 with my wife. And that's when it was that town was just hopping. It was absolutely packed with everybody from Wayne Newton to Bobby Vinton to Mel Tillis to, Robert Goulet, Andy Williams. The list goes on. And Bill and Bobby came in right around 1997 and performed at the Grand Palace, which seated about 3,000 people. Sold out, did 2 shows back to back, sold them both out. I was working with Yakov Smirnoff as a Russian dancer at the time. Do you remember comedian Yakov Smirnoff, the Russian comedian?
Yes, I
What
do,
a country! I was a dancer for him, did Russian dancing and all that for 2 years. And so I kind of got to meet Bill then, but he didn't come into Branson full time until '08. And he came in, Bobby passed away in 2003. Bill came in '08 and started. He was performing there with Paul Revere and the Raiders with his own show. And then Glenn Patch, who owned the theater, Dick Clark's theater there, asked Bill to start booking the acts. So Bill was kind of the entertainment manager as well, so he started bringing in through all his connections. He would have Martha and the Vandellas, David Somerville of the Diamonds, just incredible. Mary Wilson from the Strings, the list goes on. So he kind of got dug in there, built a home there, and I had a big 10-piece band. Bill would come and sit in with us. I worked with Andy Williams, so I really just got to know Bill over the years. We've been kind of acquaintances since '08, but kind of became friends. And in 2015, I ran into him at a wedding of a mutual friend, and I hadn't seen him in a couple years. And I had kind of gotten out of the theater scene. I was working for a small 120-seat theater a buddy of mine opened. We were paying tribute to Journey, Creedence Clearwater Revival, and the Eagles. And Bill said, "You're not, what are you doing these days?" I said, "I'm doing this Journey tribute." And he's like, "Come on, man, you don't do Steve Perry, you don't do that." And I'm like, "Well, why don't you come to the show?" Never thought he'd show up. The next day, Sunday, we had an afternoon show. We may have had 20 people there. And he calls me 5 minutes before curtain and says, "Hey, I'm thinking about coming in." I come to find out the night before he was having dinner with a friend and saying, "I just can't hear Bucky doing that." I said, "Okay, so wait a second. You came in because you thought I couldn't do it?" And he said, "Yeah, what more do one singer want than see another singer die on stage?" So he said, "I'm probably going to stay for one song," and he stayed for the whole first half, and then came back the next night for the Creedence Clearwater show, which I find funny because I think Bobby Hatfield's voice, the 2 elements I hear, he's got that clean, Steve Perry, Sam Cooke, that kind of beautiful sound, and then he's also got that, that growl, that gruff when he starts doing the bluesy stuff, which is the Fogerty. So I felt like Bill kind of saw that I could carry that off and invited me to lunch at Fuddruckers. And that kind of started the process. I called my wife. I said, "Bill Medley asked me to go to Fuddruckers." And I was kidding, I swear. I said, "I wonder if he's thinking about getting the Righteous Brothers back together." And my wife said, "He probably needs a yard boy." So that's a good one. But that's what started the process. And then we recorded a couple songs and sent it to the manager. And then we got 3 months in Harris.
Okay, so 5 minutes ago I asked you how you got started with him, and basically you went to Fuddruckers and he asked you to come on and become part of his act.
So I'm doing what Bill Medley tells me not to do. He said, "When I ask you what time it is, don't tell me how to build the clock." But I thought you kind of wanted to know because it was
Well, it's good. No, it is.
It's a process.
It's not for me. I mean, people don't really. not everyone knows you, but I want them
To me, I just find it remarkable how all these things had to line up for me to have this opportunity.
I know.
And I'm a man of faith. I think it's a God thing. Things like that don't happen by accident, I don't believe. So it wasn't just a matter of him seeing me sing and here I am. It was a process of circumstantial things happening to where it would.
But you're a talent.
Plus, you're a talented guy.
I mean, he's
God
such a
bless you.
talent, you
I
know.
know.
But there's a lot of
You
singers.
can't not
out
go to the show and say, wow, you know.
there. But there's a lot of singers out there that can do what I do. It's a lot of the chemistry, and you know.
But your personality too. I mean, you
We-
guys are a perfect fit.
We sure it was.
I mean, you know,
ordained,
you
man.
let him be Bill, and he
great.
just, you're a perfect foil who has the most amazing voice.
Thank you, brother.
And I'm trying to get a job as your manager. I'm trying.
Well, you're starting to work at the South Point, right?
Yeah.
So,
Back where we started, I mean, there was 2011, we started the South Point, and thanks to them and all the years of them supporting us, in 16 we went to Bally's, and then from Bally's we went to the Link, and then we went to Harry. You get this thing where we can't hold a job
Yeah.
when you start to see that.
No, you just
And
you keep filling up the rooms you're in, so you need a bigger room. But we saw you at the Palms, I think. Was it?
Bally's.
At Bally's. That was
The window
Bally's,
showroom.
and that's when Bill
That
saw
was
you
good.
first, and Bill came back and said, "You got to see these guys." And he started promoting you guys from our stage. He doesn't do that.
Yeah.
And he started saying, "Listen, go see the Bronx Wanderers." And he I think he saw your show 3 or 4
Yeah,
times.
it was
and
great.
and then I saw it and fell in love with
Yeah,
it.
what imagine you're in a group, and all of a sudden, Rock and Roll Hall of Famer, I mean, the guy that invented the term blue-eyed soul, essentially just jumps up on stage. You go, and you just totally lose it. And I would hand him the mic, and he would just take over, and we would have a ball. And then the next thing I know, I'm doing Caramel with you, and
So much fun, man.
well, during COVID, you guys worked together, didn't you?
we had a ball. We had
We made no money, but we sure had a good
We
time.
had a little unknown band called Triple Threat, and it was the two of us and a great singer named Johnny
Yep.
Bird. And Johnny would go out and book these jobs, and we would just show up. We'd laugh the whole time.
Yeah, it was all unscripted. Vinny would play guitar, Johnny would play piano. We'd sing together. What do you want to do next? We'd ask the crowd
Yeah.
what they'd want to hear, and we did everything from.
Oh my God, country
Everything
stuff
from
that I
country
never
to-
would get to do.
Yeah, I got to do some Guess Who, you know. And
Yeah.
so it was just, and Vinny and I would harmonize with each other. It was very special, you know.
I
And,
know, I caught you on one of those shows.
Yeah, it was very special.
We had a lot of fun.
Yeah, I know. And listen, I assume you're having fun now on what you're doing.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, it was, the one thing I think COVID kind of taught every musician is we're not vital. You know, when it really came down to, okay, only essential people right now. And, I always said the guys that cleaned the bathrooms were back before we were. I mean, we were the last ones to come back. And so it was a really rough period for everybody to kind of go through. But it makes you appreciate, where we're at now.
Sure.
Again.
Sure does. In the past, what's different was when 9/11 happened, and I talked to my dad when the Great Depression was going on. People would still save up their money to go to the movie theater to have 2 hours of escape. And when 9/11 happened, we sold out 2 shows that day because people were looking, and that's when entertainers step up. When something tragic happens, we can help people forget, and we were not allowed to do that this time. So it was a lot different.
Hopefully they won't forget about you now. How do I get you two guys back here again? I mean,
Just
you're from one
call.
side of town
Yeah.
to the other side of town.
We'll come.
I mean, you'll come because I
We'll
want to
definitely
continue.
come.
I want to continue this, and I know Bucky, you have your own podcast, so
Yeah.
I want to take some lessons from you too.
Oh, shoot, man, I'm learning here, man.
Well, with that being said, I want to thank Bucky Hurd and Righteous Brothers
Thank you,
and
brother.
Vinny Adenalfi,
Love it.
Bronx Wanderers.
You're very good at that, Evan.
I know it.
It's starting to get very Italian. You better watch. I'm telling you.
Well, it's just that I got your name correct the first time I had him on a
But that's
video,
why I
if
never
remember.
use it, because you.
I think I was calling him Andolfini.
Everybody did.
Because of Gandolfini. 'cause-
Always, exactly.
I know. But we had a good time on a couple of those videos.
We had ball.
I know, and it's fun just ad-libbing and telling stories.
Yeah.
And you guys do a great job of it. I want to thank you very much.
Thanks for
And we'll
having
catch-
us.
And we'll catch you hopefully next time. When,
We'd love it,
I'll be
man.
on. This is Evan Davis, Vegas Voice Podcast, and see you next time.